Was song one time, clean up your own backyard. Can you imagine how much better every nation would be, and every province would be, and every state would be, and every city would be, and every neighborhood would be if we could apply clean up your own backyard? Like EB criticized, probably fairly, Carney for being, you know, favoring, but not necessarily favoring the East Coast ferries and things like that. But the thing is did he talk to Carney? Is Carney just working on a way to bring in the equivalent NBC? The thing is if he's asking Carney, hey, you need to review how you support these things. But what if the review includes a review of BC ferries and finds that, hey, during EB's term there, you didn't do this investigation to find out that, let's say, a lot of the money within BC ferries or BC parks or Work BC, they're all wasted within the system instead of benefiting not just your constituents, but you got to remember everybody. And when you appoint at the national or provincial level a minister of something, remind them that means the entire province or country are their constituents. Please remind them of that. I don't want to see the emails of, if you live within this postal code. No, you appointed them minister or something. Do you guys not know what being a public servant means? Do you guys not know what naming a minister of a category means? Anyways, what I wanted to say is there's many ways that I can prove that I could have helped the issues that I criticize. For example, if the BC Human Rights Tribunal never allows my cases, or say they're not good enough or they don't qualify when they do, or the delays to tackle them, which may or may not be equal delays to me than others, if they don't see that as a culture repair within the courts or Human Rights Tribunal is my culture repairing aspect of my identity doesn't go away, that means their workloads would go down over time if they took my cases, because I would incorporate cultural repair patterns in the resolutions. So the fact that they are to accept this or see this or work with this makes them unfit for their jobs, right? Either the courts or the human rights tribunals. So that's important, people. Like, for example, I'm documenting again, and I'm sending to ministers again. It's like new ministers since then. So multiple ministers ignore things like why I call BC Ministry of Poverty Creation. So when I have additional expenses, because their agreements with Blue Cross create additional expenses for me and suffering and hardships, and it's documented and it's sent to them. It's sent to them. So if I meet you, whether I'm dressed like this and you're in a suit, how do you think I'm going to act? I'm going to act like I'm the grown-up person without developmental disabilities, and that you will need over large lengths of time to earn my trust. If you don't see this, that's what the difference is between a self-actualized Homo sapien and you, the norm, the Homo communia. There's other things, like, for example, when I was staying in a campground for free, and I got, I think, one of the last spots, and then the check's not deposited in my account, and this is when I don't even have housing. And I have to go get it in an office, which means I lose a spot, but I also have over $100 of fuel expense just to get there. They create homelessness. I've provided your ministry with this information. And you don't give me an apology or compensation for this. And you don't make it that there's a case file for me as a person, as an individual that exists for real, that I can call without having to drive there. You don't make that. You don't make the 800 number possible for problem solving, except maybe 2% of the time. But even to get to a place to call, it means expenses, or it means expenses of a phone. Because where am I supposed to find public phones where it's supposed to be free to do an 800 number but they're managed by TELUS, by call centers in other countries that try to get a credit card number for me to do things that are free to do legally. So again, when I report these things to you and you allow this evidence to go unacknowledged, then of course you're the bad guys. That means if I meet you, you are a criminal. You are very likely already planning to continue to act this way with me, either in front of a judge or in front of a human rights commissioner. So again, remember, I'm going to see you as who you are, very predictable, and I'm going to have the confidence that somebody like me deserves. So if you don't acknowledge this and this evidence doesn't count, it's really hard to take people like Eby or Carney or any minister seriously, even judges. Even judges. If I go in court and I'm the plaintiff, I'm already going to have an old piece of paper that I'll show to the judge. Your Honor, is it possible for me to do a citizen's arrest for obstruction of justice? Or what would be the equivalent? And then they would answer me, not knowing that I'm probably going to arrest that judge because the bailiff won't arrest him when I say that qualifies as obstruction of justice within my case. Because you want to facilitate the status quo, and your job and your salary and your fancy clothes and all the ways that you evaluate me as being inferior to you when it's quite the other way around. If you rely on evidence, it matters. It matters. So how can I help a species that only works on their image, but not on the reality of their own identity or the cultures that they serve?